All right, well, spawning in the top right-hand side of the map. He knows nothing or everything. It is JonSnow.
And in the bottom left-hand side, he usually wins. It's Neeb.
For a very long time now.
Yeah, he has been. You know, I was just gonna say, I think was it me and you that casted the JonSnow Pilly Pilly series the other day?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like I think back to that, and that gives me, unfortunately, somehow even less hope for JonSnow here outside of all the other statistics, because those games were he won after losing his hatcheries. Now,
Yeah.
I don't think Neeb is gonna let JonSnow win if he gets to kill his hatcheries. So I like with Void Rays, because he was like what, flying in like 4 Void Rays and killing like the lair. He killed the natural at one point. It was just crazy. And then JonSnow turned it around. If Neeb can just open Void Rays and do similar amounts of damage, I don't think JonSnow wins against Neeb after taking.
Not at all. Not at all. No way. I mean, yeah, Pili Pili kind of went for just a lot of charge slots and then kind of attacked with half the charge slots on one side and the Void Rays on the other side, and not really with the batteries. And you know, no real like firepower in like something like disruptors or anything like that. So it was kind of rough for him. I think that Neeb would not make those same mistakes. At the same time, would Neeb even go for the double Stargate Void Ray, you think?
Yeah, I think it's pretty possible. Neeb loves the Stargate styles, I think. I don't think it's something he shies away from. It's it's like a safe way to play macro, and to me, that's just Neeb all over, you know? And it sets up him well to play like late game. And a lot of people will tell you that Neeb's late game PvZ is some of the best out there and some of the scariest to play against.
Yeah, for sure. That's always been the case. Even the top European Zergs are quite afraid of it. So yeah, no one wants to late game with Neeb for the most part. And it will be a 1-Stargate opening so far. I'm curious to see if he will drop a second one. Like you said, it is safe, but in another way, it's also kind of a big commitment, right? To the Void Rays. If they do nothing, and then maybe there's a Queen Walk or something, maybe that is where JonSnow could tighten up his game. Maybe he doesn't lose those hatcheries against Neeb.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't need to kill a hatchery, right, for double Stargate Void to be good. So I feel like Neeb would probably turn out to be okay with that as well. You know, it's a very common way of playing, and we've obviously seen a good amount of it as of late. So yeah, I wouldn't be. I'd be kind of shocked if I'm going to be honest, as we do just get ourselves underway with the first Void Ray on the way up. Of course, from one Void Ray, you can do a lot of things. You can go Oracle after this. You can set up all that second Stargate. The most important thing here is that you're going to be able to clear out the initial Overlord and make sure that the scouting of JonSnow isn't there, so that then you can do kind of whatever you want behind it without JonSnow being able to make educated decisions about what's going on.
Yeah, Neeb is going to read a lot into these links being out on the map, and that is a perfect read from Neeb, right? Like the Adept goes out, takes a lot of hull damage, thinks, why are there links even on the map? Why is there 4 of them and then two more, and then reads into that, thinks that there's link speed on the way, that he's about to get flooded. And while it wasn't a huge flood from JonSnow, there was a little bit of a poke. So actually, this is kind of an overreaction from Neeb, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, to be fair, like, I don't blame him. There was also a game we watched the other day where somebody played just extremely safely, like way safer than they ever needed to, and they were still fine. Was it I guess it was like a Reynold game or something. I really can't remember off the top of my head. I apologize. But the idea being that basically you can just, you know, if you're Neeb here, you can just, as long as you make sure not to die, I think you're still ahead, right? Like, there's very few things you can do which are inherently wrong as long as you're not dying. So being overly safe, I think you just play like that if you're in this series. And he's going to drop down a second Stargate and a Fleet Beacon. He does love this kind of build as well. You know, him and Max, he says he actually took a lot of inspiration from Max Pax's games. That's something he was talking about last season a lot. And yeah, going into the Fleet Beacon this time around with that second Stargate. Typically, we talk about Tempest here and seen some Tempest harass, but it's not unheard of to go a couple of carriers and to send some carriers on the harassment trap.
Yeah, I'm feeling the carrier rush. I've seen Neeb do the 2 carrier rush a couple of times. So I would not be surprised to see that. It's a very long map as well, so I'm not sure that Tempest would be the coolest thing to go, but we'll find out in just a second. And yeah, I think that the game we are talking about is maybe Raynor versus Sword Both of those games were very safe from Raynor. And earlier, of course, we saw Scarlet do something similar against Massa as well.
Yeah, I don't think it was Reno sort of. I'm gonna have a little nosy around after this game and figure it out though, because now I'm interested. I've interested myself, you know.
Nice. Yeah, there will be upgrades coming on for those carriers as well. So that's pretty cool. I think he's just gonna move out with these two carriers. I'm curious to see if he's gonna continue to make carriers after the first two. A lot of the time, you just want to force an overreaction, force your opponent to actually make a lot of perhaps corruptors and not overcommit to the carriers. So I'm curious to see what Neeb's gonna do here.
I think it might have been Clem against Bly. And
definitely, yeah.
Yes.
That was definitely one of them.
Yeah, he was like, if I just play like super overly safe, I'll never lose this game. And he didn't lose, so worked out.
Yeah, he made a bunker on the high ground. He made a double medevac drop without actually using it. The 2-1-1 and just stayed at home. Yeah, that was definitely over safety from Clem. It was cool.
Yeah. Well, here come these carriers. Honestly, I love this build. You come forward, you harass a little bit. It's very fun. It gives you a good transition into Sky Toss later. That's a great stasis ward, of course. And for now, you obviously just start focusing on the ground army as well. So you can have a ground army to support carriers. And then later in the game, it's very easy for you to move into carriers because, well, guess what? You're already well on the way there. So, yeah, I always loved this build. I always thought it was very fun when we first started seeing its stats with one of the players to use it first. And, well, right now, these carriers are actually doing crazy amounts of damage, way more than I'd say you'd usually get. So, multiple queens dropping. There's a couple overlords here you could go for. I mean, JonSnow's already in some trouble.
Yeah, definitely. And there's no more carriers to follow it up as well. So, like I was saying, the Spire is going to be done. Instant Spire when JonSnow spots the carriers. And he's very likely to make Corruptors. And then Corruptors will be kind of overkill against just the two carriers if he makes enough to take them down in the first place, right? So, yeah, beautiful positioning from Neeb as well, going in between both bases. And a little bit of a mistake, a little bit of a blunder from JonSnow to kind of fight in the middle of those two bases without a Spore being there until the very end where he brings the Spore to the high ground. So a great start for Neeb.
Yep, as you see, a couple of carriers just gonna really go for this hatchery. I think they just commit that one that's low. Okay, well, it wouldn't matter. It would get away. Hatchery goes down, fourth base denied, and we are already starting to see the signs of Neeb running away with this game, right? A couple of queens gonna go down here. That's obviously not good either. And yeah, 10 Corruptors on the way, but Voids have been building. There's a ground army coming through. I mean, yes, the Corruptors are going to get rid of these carries. They're going to push them back. Neeb doesn't need to stick on the map with them. He's done more than enough already. They've 100% paid for themselves. So, yeah, just looks as though we're going to have a pretty good setup for Neeb in game number 1.
Yeah, JonSnow actually overcommitting to the Corruptor numbers here, which might end up being okay for him because Neeb actually transitioned into multiple Void Rays. Of course, JonSnow knows that there is 2 Stargates, and Neeb is likely to continue some sort of production from them. So I do like it, but yeah, I mean, he needs a little bit more than just a couple of good moves here.
Yeah. He really kind of does. I see these Corruptors taking a little bit more damage. The Void's activating more. Cool. I mean, all the Voids are coming across. Neeb just obviously feels like he's done plenty, and hence he can start to be aggressive, maybe even. I don't know if he would attack all the way in, but feeling safe enough even to walk kind of this far out on the map with everything is kind of a statement in itself.
Yeah, a little bit sloppy, a little bit lazy from Neeb. I was thinking, you know, like out of those Void Rays, maybe you overcharge 2 or 3. Instead, he didn't just overcharge all of the Void Rays at the front, but also all of the Void Rays that were coming behind. So now he has to maybe be a little bit cautious because he won't have that prismatic alignment.
Yeah, Corruptors just flew on in. 2 go down instantly. I mean, obviously that doesn't bode too well for JonSnow as we wait for the next couple of moves here. I mean, JonSnow is just stuck on Roach Ravager Corruptor basically, and Neeb's zombie already looks like it's like it's just so so much better tech. If JonSnow was all in with this, I'd be like, okay, cool, I'm down. That's obviously not what this is. You're going to see some queens getting chased down. Here we go. Corruptor's going to go for the carriers, and they will get 1, and they will get 2. But a lot of Corruptors go down in the process. And the problem is now the Corruptors are somewhat dead weights as well, because at the end of the day, now you've got Corruptors against Voids, and we know how well the Voids do there.
Oh,
so
brutal.
And there's zealots everywhere as well. Wow.
Just
Okay,
a
Neeb
carnage,
is all over.
right? Like, yeah, Neeb just won on every single front there. So, yeah, that's rough. I mean,
they were like the sacrificial carriers. You give up 2 carries and you win in 3 different places after that, right? Like, he sacrificed them to the Protoss gods via corruptors, and he just unleashed a spell that won him the game because he just won everything else. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games that's not really too complex, right? You don't have to say much about it. Neeb had a better opening. He played a little bit overly safe at first with that kind of full wall and stuff, but as mentioned, as long as he doesn't die, he's probably going to be fine. He was more than fine.
Yeah, it felt like just his army could have won that fight. It felt like just his ground army could have won that fight. It felt like his run-bys would have put up a good fight against the army of JonSnow if they were to clash. So, yeah, that was really rough. Let's see if game 2 is a little bit better. I mean, that was a very difficult start for JonSnow, but yeah, beautifully done from Neeb.
Beautifully done. We're going to 2,000 atmospheres for game 2. I feel like this could be a map where if Neeb wanted to do something similar, he could do something similar and basically go for like the Tempest setup instead. It's kind of an okay map for it, so I'd be kind of down to see that. I think it'd be kind of fun, but really, I think Neeb, it's a large map. It's just going to make it hard for JonSnow to do anything early to kill Neeb. And the later this game goes, the more of a believer I am in Neeb in this series as well. So it's going to be tough. I hate to be just defeatist before we even begin, but that's just kind of the matchup that we've got ourselves here in the North American Group B. For DreamHack, like I say, it's like one of these matchups that we pick because at name value, it's a very interesting matchup, right? Neeb, someone people always want to see, and JonSnow, someone who's been a big name in the NA scene. But there is just that gap because Neeb's one of those top tier, top 3 players in NA. And JonSnow's just that tier below, and unfortunately, it kind of shows right now.
Yeah, most definitely. And yeah, I would like to see Tempest on this map. That is pretty cool. I mean, the Tempest, there's a lot of airspace. You can see it between the natural and the 4th, or between the main and the 3rd, if that's the triangle that they take. So it's definitely better for that, and that would be an interesting approach. Let's see if JonSnow tries something different as well. Spawning in the top right-hand side of the map, playing for Ting, it is Neeb. New poster.
In the bottom left-hand side, our blue Zerg is JonSnow. Hey, it's a pretty cool poster too.
That's good. I didn't see it.
It's
a Dark Templar.
I think it's an Archon, but maybe I'm wrong. I could see it more easily when Neeb's camera was big. But
you mean Neeb's poster? Yeah, that's an Archon for sure. Yeah.
Ooh.
No doubt.
Well, whose poster do you think I was talking about?
Well, I thought, well, yeah, you did the intro for JonSnow, and you said he has a cool poster too. I was trying to look at it in his head.
Oh, you thought I was making a real tune like you joke, and you were like a DT. Oh, that was funny actually.
I just thought Fear Dragon right there and then,
Yeah, I was just excited to continue the poster talk. That's all. I mean, JonSnow's room doesn't give us a lot to discuss, so.
Yeah, but his game here does, as he does have a proxy hatch. Very cool.
I like it. Just changing it completely. Like I said, the later the game goes, the more I believe in Neeb. So hit him early, hit him with something weird. This is kind of your best way to steal a map.
I completely agree. And I wouldn't mind another hatchery inside Neeb's main with this other drone, though it might be more likely for a spine crawler. But just even showing the drone as a scout and showing a hatchery inside Neeb's main might make Neeb not worry about this hatchery. But no, it looks like it's definitely going to be a spine. And yeah, that's pretty cool. I like it. And Neeb did commit for the Nexus in spite of scouting JonSnow and seeing that there is no hatch. I think that this is a winnable game.
Yep. It's going to be Neeb's choice now as to what he wants to do against this. Some people like to build massive gateways. Some people like to go, he straight up cancels the Nexus. I like that. I feel like just use the extra money. So I like that a lot. He adds a second gateway. I was going to say some people like to drop down the robo right away. Some people even build a forge. I think maybe a little bit later build the forge here and to aim towards cannons. So I like this. Just batteries, second gateway. Stuff that you can get out quickly already from where you're at. That was no cancel, right? So unless I'm mistaken, I believe that's a dead shield battery. Yeah, it was. So that's cool. That's nice.
That is cool. However, this spine crawler is not really going to be able to outpower this many shield batteries, so it's still a little bit concerning for JonSnow because he doesn't really have the larva and he probably wants to save energy for transfuse as well. So in an ideal case scenario with this type of strategy, I would have much rather seen a Roach Warren just simply because it allows you to spend your larva efficiently, effectively. So all this hatchery really gives him is the terrain to drop those spines.
Yeah, extra batteries finishing up as we do see these couple of lings being pushed away a little bit, but 2 spines at the front, genuinely kind of scary. Neeb is doing nothing but building more batteries. I mean, right now you're healing 1 battery with another battery. That's kind of the game we're playing. There is a transfusion available. Problem is the stalk count's getting higher, so these spine crawlers will genuinely start getting into a lot of trouble. Don't think Neeb needs to walk forward now. He should only fight when spines are moving because he has nothing else to defend from what's in range of those spines. Maybe 1 pylon, but I don't think being a supply box is a major issue just yet. Well, actually, maybe it would be. As the ling count getting problematic as well. I mean, that's an issue because these stalkers don't kill lings that quickly, Cap.
Yeah, and I mean, this was a decent attempt from JonSnow, but it's looking worse and worse as Neeb has leveraged most of the energy on his... he's dropping just more shield batteries. The downside would be of canceling the Nexus, I guess, is that he doesn't have the overcharge, but yeah, this is not going to be enough from JonSnow, sadly.
He doesn't have the overcharge, but he also just afforded so much so quickly that he wouldn't have had otherwise. And that might have been the breaking point because you could see how this was getting closer points maybe for JonSnow, and there was some potential for him to break in, you know, so yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I think this had some kill potential. I still would have preferred the Roach Warren. I think the Ravagers are just a little bit more maneuverable than the Spines. So I think that would have been a little bit cooler to really siege this, but I mean, it's a tough one, right? It's a very difficult strategy to pull off ever since the shield batteries came around. And JonSnow, difficult to blame him. I mean, this game, as much as it looks decided already 5 minutes in, much closer than the last, right?
Yeah, you know, honestly, I think Neeb just I honestly just love Neeb's response as well, though, because you can really overcomplicate this by being like, oh no, I need to get like a robo, I need something that can fight against spines. Second gateway and pure stalker production has just got the job done with that many batteries to keep these stalkers alive. As these couple of queens will be getting shot down. A few more lings wanting to move forward, perhaps. Thinking about trying to jump on those stalkers, but not quite getting far enough forward just yet. Now?
Let's go in at that point. Oh, is it blocked?
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think he just wants
He could have gone in the main, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree. If he could have got in for sure, that would have been the better option. At this stage, the lings all go down and the spines don't have much life or love left on them. And JonSnow taps out knowing that he gave it a good effort, but Neeb was just unfortunately a little bit too good. And